We started our adventure into the open source community as developers of ClamAV, which was a really successful product. So if you're using Gmail, you're protected by ClamAV. It's our open source antivirus. If you're using Google Drive, you are protected by ClamAV. If you are using Facebook, every picture you put on Facebook is scanned by ClamAV. It's deployed on millions of servers, and it's protecting billions of emails account. In 2007, we were acquired by SourceFire, which later, in 2013, was acquired itself by Cisco. So now ClamAV is maintained by and commercialized by Cisco. So where are we going? We decided that we had enough of the antivirus industry. After spending 10 years in the security industry, we thought that it was time to try something different, something else. So we dived into cloud storage. We founded Skylable in London. We opened a research and development office in Torun last year. By the way, we are hiring, so if anybody in this room is interested in a job as a developer, we would be more than happy to talk to him. We got a seed round of financing by Sunstone Capital, which is a leading venture capitalist from Denmark. We closed it like a few months ago, so we have still a long future in front of us. So now, a bit more about enough about ourselves. So what I'm going to try to explain to you today is what is big data and how Skylable can help you with your big data needs. So big data, to make it simple, is kind of GPS navigator. You can think of it as what really helps you to make the most difficult decision when taking a direction for your business. So it's no longer you no longer need to use your guts to know where your business should go. You can just rely on the information provided by big data analysis. Where to find big data? Big data is everywhere. If you look at, for example, how in the past the shops worked, it was based, again, on the guts of the shop owner. Right now, many shop chains are turning to big data to decide every single aspect of their shops. So even a fashion shop, a women's wear shop or a men's wear shop, they will analyze exactly how the disposition of dresses or lights affects their sales. And they will analyze, record this data and analyze this data to optimize sales. So it's not by chance that when you enter a shop like Massimo Dutti or whatever, here H&M, you find some things in a specific place. It's because an algorithm decided to put that stuff there, because they saw that it made sales, it allowed to increase sales. So big data is everywhere, you just have to find it, and you have to find it by yourself. There is no silver bullet, there is no rule to follow, simple rule to follow. It's something that you have to build day by day. So how big is the data? Well, just because, exactly because you can find big data everywhere, in every single aspect of your business, it means that big data is really big. So you may think that a bus might be enough to fit it, but then you try to fit it into a 2-story bus, but then again it's not enough, so you try with a 3-story bus. That's never enough. You simply cannot predict how big data will be big. So how big will it be? You just have to assume that it will outgrow what you have today. So you have to plan to have it, to be able to extend your storage on a monthly basis or even on a weekly basis. You just cannot plan it in advance. So how do you store such a large amount of data? This is what Skylable can do well, and this is why here I'm talking about Skylable today. So there are many ways to store really, really large amount of data. The first that comes to mind is obviously the cloud. Now, one thing that I'm asked very often by my non-techie friends, tech-savvy friends, is what is the cloud, right? There has been even a movie about this. What is the cloud? Nobody knows what it is. Well, actually, it's not a mystery. It's very simple. The cloud is somebody else's computer. That's it. When you put your data in the cloud, you are putting it on somebody else's computer. It can be some other company, some other entity, but it's always, it always boils down to somebody else's computer. So the alternative to the cloud is to just use some storage that you can buy from your favorite vendor. It could be NetApp, it could be MC Square, but they offer so many different technologies that in the end your data center your IT department, let's say, will look like this. So a big mess. Because you start mixing different size of storage, different technologies, different vendors, because that vendor went out of business, so you move to another vendor, but that vendor phased out some model, so you move to a newer model, and in the end, this is what it will look like. So the solution is to use software-defined storage. Software-defined storage means that you can use any kind of hardware, even different ones, but you use it, you install a software on it, the same on every hardware, or every piece of hardware, and that software makes it look like the hardware is the same, because it exposes to you an API, an interface, which is always the same. So you don't care if you are using different models of servers, different models of storage area network, you don't care, because all you see is the interface offered by that software, and that software is the same on every node. So Skylable belongs to the category of software-defined storage, and let's see why it's better than other software-defined storage. So the big challenges of storing big data, the things that you have to ask yourself when you choose a storage for your big data is, like we already said, what size, what speed, and where. Well, size cannot be predicted, so vertical scaling is not the answer. Vertical scaling means that you buy a node, you buy a storage, whatever storage area network, and you fill it like with for 20% with hard drives. Then you need more storage, you add more hard drives, you add more hard drives, you add more shelves. But in the end, you will eat the physical limit of that storage. So vertical scaling doesn't work with big data. Avoid it. Horizontal scaling, on the other side, works because you just keep adding nodes to your storage cluster. And this works because there is no limit how long you can grow horizontally. Skylable supports horizontal scaling. So what speed? Well, if you use public clouds, you are limited by the speed of your internet connection, obviously, because you can only upload and download your data at the speed of your internet connection. Now, in Poland, I must say that internet connectivity is pretty good. It's pretty amazing compared to many areas of Europe, including Italy, which is my own country, and I can speak also for France. It's much better than in France. For many countries, this can be a problem, and again, it all depends on how much data you will have tomorrow. So it's true that internet connectivity is good enough, maybe for you today, but big data will keep growing at a faster rate than your internet connectivity. This is unavoidable. So private clouds, on the other side, are local, so they are near you. You don't need to use internet connection. You can use a local area network to connect to your private cloud storage, and that's obviously faster and scales much better. It can grow much faster. So all the time that you spend waiting for your data to go to a public cloud is time that is wasted, and time is money. Let's not forget this. Private clouds are faster, save time, and money. Again, another problem with public clouds is that they are often not in your own country, not under the legislation of your country. So when you put data in Amazon Cloud or OneDrive or Google Drive or Google Cloud, whatever, you are putting your data under the control of a first of all, of a third-party company, which one day may become your competitor, and it will have access to your most critical data. And second, you are putting it under the control of a foreign country, typically US. And therefore, you are also subject to the US legislation when you put your data there. This is something that might be not a problem for companies who don't care about, don't have any restrictions in terms of who don't deal with, let's say, with sensitive data. But think about a bank, think about a law firm, a big law firm, or think about anything that is related to financial, the financial world. Putting your data, your financial data in somebody else, under somebody else's control and in another country can lead to many problems. So how does Skylable work? It simply, like I anticipated to you, it aggregates the space of many nodes together so that you can access it from your local network through any device. And of course, we support all platforms. Why it's better than other similar solutions? Because we support multi-region, so you can we support basically disaster recovery, so you can replicate your data, build your own cloud inside a single country on many locations or over multiple countries, depending how big your company is. It's compatible with Amazon S3 interface, so if you are using Amazon S3, you can just switch to Skylable and it will be a totally transparent switch. It's future-proof. It can scale horizontally. It's fully distributed, so there is no single point of failure. And it supports, like I said, data replication, so it guarantees that your data will never be lost if a node fails. It can self-heal, it can repair the cluster automatically, so you don't have to do that manually, you don't have to worry about your cluster being unhealthy. And it's the deployment, it's totally automated. So soon we will have appliances that you can buy and put in your rack ready to use, but you can also use your own servers and deploy it automatically with a single command. The other thing is that contrary to our competitors, it just does one thing well, and that's object storage. So we don't try to be many things, we just do one thing well, object storage, so that you can rely on it. It's open source, it's released under the GPL license. We also have a library which is LGPL, so you can link it to your commercial product and you don't have to release your commercial product. Our API are well documented, so you can go on our website and see how they work and even build your own client for our cloud. On the contrary, our competitors are complex and difficult to install and run. They support only the S3 protocol. We also support another protocol, our own protocol, which is SX, which is optimized for performances. So when you download and upload your data to our cluster, you are uploading and downloading in parallel to multiple nodes. So that's something that our competitors cannot do, even the commercial ones. We support it, and it makes a huge difference in our experience. So I would like to tell you before the question and answer, I don't know, how much time do we have? Enough? Okay. So I would like to tell you a couple of things about how we are doing things. We are not the typical company that tries just to make a business on a commercial product, because we believe that open source software offers better reliability than commercial software. When you do open source software, you have no alibi. You are showing your open source content, your code, your source code, to your customers, to everyone actually, and to your customers. So you cannot take shortcuts. You have to do things well, really well, because you are going to be judged. You cannot play tricks on your customers like commercial vendors do. So when you go and buy a storage or a network from a vendor, from even the big ones, you don't know exactly what you are buying. You are buying a black box. You don't know what is inside. You don't know what it will happen to that black box in 5, 10 years. You just have to trust the vendor. That's the vendor lock-in, right? It's what makes business also easier for the vendor, because they know that you will be their customers until you go out of business. So with open source software, it works in a different way, because you have a partial control over the future of the product. So you don't depend on somebody, you actually control the software, the product that you are buying. That's a big advantage. That's what really gives peace of mind, because you don't have to trust the person who is selling you the product. You can just check it out, try it, even for free, decide if it is good enough for your needs, and then you can come to us and tell us, okay, we want commercial support because we need to, to have somebody to call in case things go south, or we need somebody to add some features that we need, or we need somebody because we want this product to stay in business, to keep going this product, right? But you could also go to somebody else. I mean, you could ask somebody else to develop those very same features. Of course, if you come to the original authors, it will be simpler. So this approach, the open source approach, worked very well for us when we're developing ClamAV, and it's the thing that got us into such large deployments like Gmail, like Facebook. So we just released we released 2 weeks ago our 0.9 release. We are going to release our very first 1.0 release, one series release in 2 weeks. It will be out on 14th of November. I hope that you will try it, and you will be impressed as much as the person who tried so far have been impressed, and they are quite a lot. So thank you, and I'm ready for any questions that you might have.
Okay, questions?
You can ask even in Polish. I understand a bit of Polish.
Pytania po polsku?
Do you plan to provide a platform as a service in the future?
So that's something that we are asked to do very often. We would like not to do that, but we already have many companies who contacted us and want to build a platform as a service based on Skylable. So there will be many choices here in Poland already, and also some in Italy, hopefully some in Germany soon. There is definitely a space for that, but it will not come from us directly. It will come from an external entity. We want to focus on the software development, because that's the thing that we can do really well. At least the last 10 years showed that we can do it very well.
Okay, so my question, how are you different from the solutions that are already on the market? Yes, there are also open source solutions which provides something similar. Yes, I assume you make it better and faster. Yes, but is that enough to compete?
So there are many differences, not only faster, but also more features. Some things are missing in our competitors, like the duplication. So when you upload, I didn't put this slide here because it's a bit technical, but when you upload data to our cluster, it gets deduplicated even before you upload it. So if you have already uploaded a file to the cluster and you modify even a small part of that file, wherever it is, when you upload the new version of the file, you get you only upload the difference, the single bytes that have changed. And this is something that our competitors cannot do. The other thing is that they cannot parallelize transfers, so you transfer only from one node at a time, and that doesn't scale, it's too slow. Instead, with us, not only you aggregate the space of all nodes, you also aggregate the bandwidth of all nodes. So you can get much better speeds. Other things that we do well, we support client-side encryption natively. We also have support for accessing the cluster through a file sync application. So if you go on the Google Play Store, for example, you can find our Android application. There will be an iOS application very soon as well. And you can use it to access the data that you put in your cluster from your mobile. We have a web interface, again, which allows you to access the data in your cluster. And yeah, these are all, there are many features that are missing from our competitors. Well, just to be clear, we didn't start this project because we just wanted to do something. Actually, the need for this project came from our previous experience with other open source storage softwares. So while we were developing ClamEV, we had the need to store really large amounts of malware, of viruses. A little known fact is that every day there are 10 gigabytes of new viruses out in the wild. So your computer doesn't get infected by all these 10 gigabytes of malware because antivirus vendors do a good job at blocking them before they spread. But the viruses are there and they must be analyzed by all antivirus vendors. And ClamEV had to analyze them too and store them. And we were spending like $200,000 for 40 terabytes of disk space. And 40 terabytes of disk space are not that much, right? And instead, $200,000 are quite a lot. So we tried to, this $200,000 was an appliance from NetApp. So we tried to build the same storage that NetApp was offering us using open source software. We tried the Ceph, we tried the Gluster, and they all failed in our test. I mean, none of them was as fast as we needed, and none of them was as stable as what we needed. We needed something that could run on a 24/7 operation, right? So we were really unhappy with what we saw on the market, and we thought that there was a pain in the market that we could solve, and that's how we started Skylable. Before taking every single architecture decision, before making any decision on the development of Skylable, we looked at what our competitors had done in the past 10 years, and we make an informed decision, okay? So we had an advantage over our competitors because we knew their mistakes, we saw what they did wrong in the past, and we could fix that. Of course, for them now it's too late to fix that because when you take a bad decision in the beginning, usually it's too late to fix it later. You just have to start over. So we started over.
Pytania? Jeśli nie, to Luca na pewno będzie dostępny. Bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you,
Luca.